because we are gonna have Hayley versus Quinn. And for those of you who know, Hayley really likes dog teams. Well, I don't know if she's bringing one day, but I'm sorry. Did I just see what I think I just saw?
Yeah, you did.
I did, right?
Let's take a look at the teams here. We got on Quinn side drag Algae, which I was super excited to. I think it's the first time I've
That's
seen.
Drag Age, right? Okay, cool. I just want to make sure I saw that.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Sure.
With for a giraffe, Torkoal, Slitherwing, which is again another rare pick, Mimikyu, and Breloom, which we did actually see placed in the top two.
Freaking annoying.
Spore, Fake Out, Bullet Seed.
Let me guess, is it Terra Ghost?
No.
Oh, it's
Terra Grass.
That's kind of nasty.
Hayley on the right side is going to bring in Tyranitar, Sylveon, Gastrodon, Amoonguss, Iron Hands, and Garchomp.
Oh,
so
I love that.
That's an interesting choice as well here because it's a very sand-oriented team, and if you look at Hayley's team sheet here, you see that not only does the Garchomp have Sand Veil, that Gastrodon's also going to benefit.
Okay, we're actually going to talk about this Garchomp really fast. Hayley, oh, I brought the dog for you because here's packs for you on the team, but Hayley's Garchomp is Sand Veil Bright Powder.
Yep.
So if you were trying to hit that Garchomp, it's good luck.
So many people
actually,
relying on Icy Winds to hit with Bundle.
Here's what we're gonna say. We're gonna say instead, if any move that hits this Garchomp in Sand, I will be impressed by. I will take a tally on this because that's actually pretty amazing.
What's interesting too, though, is it's kind of a weather battle. I mean, you do see Torkoal. It's not a guarantee that'll come in, but on most Trick Room teams, it's very solid, and you can use it to remove that sand. So I think we may see Weather Wars here, not as much as not too much, but like that Torkoal versus getting that in and getting rid of it. It's a bit scary because it's sand. So obviously Tyranitar and Garchomp and Gastrodon all have moves that can knock out Torkoal.
Well, here's the other fun part too. How many people remember what Dragalge does? Dragalge? Dragalge?
I think it's Dragalge.
Honestly,
there you go.
Someone tell me. I love that they both have their favorite Pokemon. I'm assuming this is maybe one Quinn's favorite Pokemon just because they both have it on their.
I know. I love seeing the trader cards.
Oh, there we go. Cool.
There it is.
Two Pokemon that are really, really difficult to pronounce.
I know.
Thank you, Quinn. I really appreciate that. But Quark Drive activating here with that booster energy, so really fantastic here. I love Sylveon like in this spot all the time, right? The
Dragalge.
Yeah,
whatever that is.
We'll go Dragalge. Well, sure, why not? Kind of in a, I mean, like a really good spot against that Sylveon, right? Like you've got access to the kind of crazy sort of like poison type moves. That Sludge Bomb just absolutely devastating in terms of how high of an attack it is. I mean, on the opposite side of it, you also like are Dragon type as well. But think of what your Dragon
poison, so you do you're neutral to Hyper Voice.
It's kind of wild. It looks. This is one of those Pokemon that looks like it's supposed to be a water type, and it's not. Looking at you, Lugia.
I know. I was gonna say the same thing. And speaking of that Hyper Voice, it's gonna come on out and connect with the Dragalge. For Draft does protect though, and it does not even half on Dragalge. But that's before the I want to keep wanting to say booster energy, but it is the Throat Spray, which is essentially like it does boost. But that Sludge Bomb does one hit KO Sylveon, and it is gone. Does it get a chance to use that Throat Spray? And
I mean, here's the thing, right? Like it's one of those Pokemon that like definitely just has an insanely high special attack. Sure, but it actually doesn't really go down because it is super effective with that poison typing there.
Yeah.
So kind of like a switch here, which is really interesting, right? You could have been actually in a fantastic spot as Quinn to be able to set up the Sugar Room, but looking actually in the background, you've got Slitherwing and Mimikyu. So Mimikyu not really like fantastic here as a Trick Room user.
Don't necessarily want the Trick Room up at the moment. I think here, especially because Mimikyu is like mid speed, it can work either way, and it's thanks to its ability, it is solid in terms of bulk. It'll survive a couple hits, so we're gonna see Mimikyu come out and Garchomp on Hayley's side.
I think this is hilarious because now you're switching out one dragon for another dragon, but on opposite sides, and another fairy for another fairy on opposite sides.
Literally switched around. Garchomp is not in the sand. It does have the Bright Powder, so there's still potential for misses, but it's not in the sand, so it's not as scary. I don't know if you want to switch into sands if you did bring in Tyranitar, because it's solid, but you are going to lose that booster energy, so do you want to sacrifice that? I think it would be a good idea. And then obviously Mimikyu does. Actually, what's interesting though is if Tyranitar is in the back, Mimikyu poses a threat to everything on Hayley's side. All of them are going to be weak to that Fairy type. We're gonna see Garchomp protect here.
Oh, that's a Trick Room setup then immediately for Quinn. That's actually really
Hyper Voice start for Quinn.
Well, it also has Throat Spray, right? Yeah, so that's totally fine.
That's a nice amount of damage on Iron Hands, and depending on what this Mimikyu does, it could potentially get rid of it if they predicted this.
It went for
okay. Wild Charge gonna go onto the Mimikyu, which is gonna break its disguise, but Mimikyu now gets that attack. Now what's interesting to me here with that Trick Room, now you have for draft with that Throat Sprayed Hyper Voice, and we saw how much that did on Iron Hands. At this point, I think it's a really good position. The only thing I think Hayley, you gotta watch out for. I would probably switch Iron Hands out for the Tyranitar and start getting that.
If that's what she has, right?
If she has Tyranitar, because you really need that evasion boost, because your Garchomp's definitely slower. Iron Hands may not be slower, but at the same time, like Iron Hands may be the fastest on the field, but like.
So I think what's nice here is that Quinn was able to set up Trick Room. The Farigiraf is going to be able to do some heavy damage.
Yeah,
here.
a lot of damage.
Sure, Disguise has been broken here on that Mimikyu, but the big heavy hitter now is that Farigiraf, because you do have to worry a little bit about how much damage
Terranormal,
do.
yep.
Terranormal is pretty decent.
I'm actually may be able. I think that was really smart because that's now you can Hyper Voice without fear and get rid of the Iron Hands. But we're gonna see Terra
stab as well. So no switches here from Hayley. The Garchomp, still kind of an awkward position. You are gonna at least get rid of that Dragon type, that Fairy type weakness. Ooh, yeah. Everyone's favorite with that ground Terra typing, because now your Earthquakes are doing a little bit more damage here. You do have that Mimikyu that's already been like sort of hit. It is gonna get knocked out by that Wild Charge here. So Mimikyu is gonna go down. You're gonna have to at least do some significantly heavy damage here onto that Farigiraf. The Hyper Voice boosted by both the Throat Spray and by that Terra Normal typing is going to do a lot of damage here.
Oh my! That crit knocked out the Garchomp!
I think that crit definitely mattered.
Oh, I definitely think so.
Sure, because what's going to happen, right, is your Iron Hands is going to go down, then your single target Earthquake with the Garchomp. So it's actually kind of really rough here for Hayley. That critical hit definitely mattered.
That may have, may have been the deciding factor.
I will say though, Quinn was playing that very nicely. That really early game with like the Mimikyu being sent in, and with that Farigiraf being able to at least get that Throat Spray immediately, because now alongside like that Mimikyu, you can't really stop the Mimikyu from getting the Trick Room up unless you double down into it, and even then you have to sort of guess which Pokemon is going to be doing the Trick Room setup, right? Because both of them access it. Tyranitar obviously not going to be able to do much here at this point.
Especially with Quinn having close combat on that Slitherwing. It's and we did just see the Terra from Hayley, so at this point you basically hope your Slitherwing it doesn't die, which I'm sure it will. It's really pretty solid in terms of bulk, and we did see with this rock slide coming out.
What is a flinch? There's a way.
That
is my favorite.
That is my slogan. I have experienced so many flinches, but Quinn is not going to experience a flinch, and they're going to pick up the win.
Yeah, I will say, I think that early trade-off between Hayley and Quinn, where they both traded their Dragon and Fairies for another Dragon and Fairy that they had in the back, but opposite, really kind of helps set Quinn up for that sort of end game, right? I really appreciate that they were able to set up the Farigiraf with that Throat Spray and the Hyper Voice, and we were able to set up a Trick Room, because it is definitely one of those things where when you're looking at Trick Room teams, right, you have to make sure that you capitalize on it as much as you can, and Mimikyu is definitely one of those Pokemon where, because of that Disguise, you do have to put a lot more firepower and effort into knocking it out, which means Trick Room has a higher chance of being set up with that Mimikyu, right? And then if you're on the opposite side of your Hayley, you're looking at both Farigiraf and Mimikyu, and you're thinking, okay, well, one of them has to go on the offensive, one of them has to set up Trick Room, which one is it going to be, right? And usually you kind of expect it the other way, where Farigiraf is usually the one who is going to be setting up the Trick Room, and then the Mimikyu might be attacking. And with the Armor Tail ability here from that Farigiraf as well, you can even fake things out, right? So really there's a lot of tools that Quinn has that they're able to use to help set up that Trick Room.
Yeah, Quinn's team's super diverse, like we were saying. I mean, and when you look at it too, you not only have the both Trick Room options, you have Breloom as well, who can fake out and provide a very good support. Dragalge, as we saw, did a lot of damage, knocked out the Sylveon, which is insane. And so here, I think, I don't even know what the best option would be if you're Hayley. I think
there's nothing wrong with going for the Tyranitar Garchomp, right?
Yeah, that's what I would have gone for.
Traditional sand sort of idea here. I think Gastrodon might actually also be really helpful in this sort of like matchup, right? Because if you know that the Quinn's going to be going for another sort of like Trick Room setup, then there's nothing wrong with having tools to deal with in the back. Amoonguss and Gastrodon do very well in Trick Room team setups. Amoonguss kind of actually really fantastic because you do resist like a lot of, like you can put stuff to sleep, you don't have to worry about stuff like that.
Actually, what's interesting too is we did see the Throat Spray, and most of the time Amoonguss does outspeed for a Giraffe in Trick Room, so you could spore it right before it actually abuses that Throat Spray. And there's Tyranitar Garchomp, which I think that's way
I do really appreciate this here, and I actually also appreciate Quinn's lead.
Yeah.
I think these are kind of really good adjustments for both of them, right? You lost your Dragalge, like sure, but I don't know, maybe like it was worth it in the end because you did end up winning match there. But here now, again, Hayley has to play the game of which one is going to go for the Trick Room and which one do I have to hit down into. Because again, Mimikyu, you have to spend a lot of effort into actually going down into it, and Now, like, you have to worry about that Garchomp trying to hit it. That Bright Powder Sand Veil is now in effect
And
here.
that's going to cause some trouble. I think you could go... I mean, you're not going to be able to knock out either one of Quinn's Pokemon. We're going to see a Terra right away, though.
Is it that Tyranitar? Yeah.
Yeah, Tyranitar. I think maybe Hayley might want to go for double Rock Slides, potentially see if you can get flinches out, because you know that other than that, don't stop Trick Room. I mean, that's what... I don't know if there's necessarily another thing you could do. Except Earthquake, yeah. But still, I was
going to say the Earthquake is a lot better here in this aspect because the Tyranitar doesn't have to worry about that. You break the disguise, which is nice.
That's the thing.
Yeah, but... Oh, wow, it actually hit that.
Oh my Garchomp with the sand.
That's wild.
And Assurance going on to Mimikyu.
Very nice.
That was a very wise play. And now this is interesting because you could see if that Fridruff didn't go for Trick Room.
I think it went for the high.
But he did. Yeah, I mean, Quinn is in a worse spot than they were in the first match, but still has Trick Room, still can abuse it, and now Hyper Voice does not resist on the Tyranitar, and Tyranitar lost its Sand special defense boost. So I think Quinn's still in a very solid position here to start just attacking. The hard part, that Garchomp has Sand Veil. I think both of these are solid picks of Quinn's remaining Pokemon. I think you're not going to really be able to hit them super effectively. I would probably go for Dragalge because...
I think here now, if you're Hayley, you're actually kind of okay. So I think you're
Hayley's
okay.
in a solid
if you're okay, you're okay with Trick Room going up, right? Because now the pressure is on Quinn a little bit to try to make the most out of Trick Room turns. Sure, your Garchomp took a lot of damage from that Pyroruff, but now you have to hope that things get hit again. Tyranitar has lost its sort of like fighting type like weakness here. Water Terrasse. Oh gosh. Oh. What? Oh no. I just saw Hydro. Okay. The reason that's really stressful is I will say this every time I see a Hydro Pump. I miss Scald, guys. I miss Scald so flippin' much.
Garchomp switching out. Still now going into Gastrodon. Oh god, that call was so good. Oh my god. Storm Drain. There's the Terra Water. Oof.
So here's the part that really hurts, right? Hey, let's say you hit the Hydro Pump. Gastrodon said, hey, it doesn't matter that you hit it. I'm drinking that thing up. I really do appreciate that Hayley brought the Gastrodon.
Gastro's perfect.
It's fantastic in Trick Room. If somehow this Hydro Pump hits, which...
It won't. It doesn't matter. It's going to Storm Drain.
Oh.
I mean,
Gastrodon says.
Gastro's such a good pick here. Oh, that critical hit on the Gastro is actually very interesting.
Hey, Farigiraf, can I please buy your critical hits because those are really fantastic.
Richer's thing doesn't have like the Hydreigon set.
I mean,
focus energy.
That was such a great switch in.
Yeah, it really was.
I love that Gastrodon in there. And here's the fun part. Gastrodon says Trick Room and is like, oh, it's my turn to play here.
Oh yeah, Gastrodon is really good in Trick Room, and I think. The question is, will it outspeed the Farigiraf? I feel like
it actually won't matter. Like what you have to worry about now here as like the as Quinn is that you really have to get rid of that threat of the Gastrodon because you can't click your favorite move with Dragalge like, while it's Water Terra type while that Gastrodon's on there. So then you're Hayley playing mind games, right? But you're in a spot where you can knock out that Farigiraf if you need to. The Draco Waiter is going to hit into that
Tyranitar. It does solid. Again, it's going to come down to whether or not you can get Hyper Voice out. If you can, the Tyranitar's gone. But if not, Earth Power on. Oh, but onto the Dragalge slot doesn't KO it.
Rockside might actually KO for
Hyper Voice coming out, and a really nice Hyper Voice. I think Quinn adjusted really well there by hope, and we did see that Farigiraf is actually slightly pretty fast right now. It will die to that Sandstorm. Now you're in essentially more of a 2-on-1, I think, because you did lose your Farigiraf, you lost your Mimikyu as well. It's your last mon. Now we do know this with Gastrodon, it's in the red. It's in the spot where even at a -2 on Dragalge, Quinn can still knock out that Gastrodon. And we did see the Dragalge was faster on Trick Room, so it can go for that. So now it's basically Slitherwing versus the world. And with Iron Hands coming out and potential Fake Out, this is a really good position.
Here.
Yeah, Hayley's in a solid position.
I actually really love Hayley's like that she decided to bring for this match, especially like the Gastrodon, right? Like I was saying earlier, like Gastrodon and Amoonguss specifically really just love Trick Room. So you're okay if Trick Room gets set up. Like you got rid of like actually getting rid of the Mimikyu is a pretty big deal because it's such a scary attacker.
Yeah.
The Gastrodon getting that special attack boost probably kind of didn't matter against the Farigiraf, but it might matter in the end here. That Dragalge is in a little bit of a rough spot. So really, Hayley just gonna kind of get rid of that Slitherwing, and she is able to
pretty
sort
much
of pick
over.
this up. That Gastrodon, you know, if you can protect and go for some like some leftovers, then you're fully fine. Really, if you're just waiting for Trick Room to expire, you might also just be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah.
If you can get rid of that Slitherwings, you're just in fantastic positioning.
Fake out on that Slitherwing. Did with a crit. That's so much. Earth Power going to go onto the Dragalge slot. I think
That's fine.
and then we're going to see Slitherwing get that flinch turn. So I think Hayley. Yeah, see, we see from the Sandstorm damage here who's kind of faster. Iron Hands does outspeed Dragalge. Kroom. I think this may be the last turn of Trick Room right now, or this upcoming turn, and that, I think, really, like I said, it's Slitherwing versus the world, and that's really tough because you really need Dragalge to knock out Iron Hands.
Yeah, so here what you do, right, with the Iron Hands, you just sort of go for the Wild Charge into Dragalge, and then Slitherwing just kind of has to be like, alright, well, we're kind of in a rough spot.
A lot has to go in Quinn's favor. A lot of luck has to go in Quinn's favor if they want to pick up this matchup. I think, you know, that Iron Hands is faster, so like, yeah, okay. I was thinking maybe a double protected coming, but no. We have seen that before.
I mean, this is like the last turn in Trick Room, so you really have to be on the offensive because sure you can get the speed back over there, but there's not much really going for it, right? So Iron Hands will be able to pick up the knockout count on the Dragalge, and Gastrodon just sort of like, okay, cool. So it's just Slitherings versus the two of them, and Trick Room will expire on this turn. Yeah, the Garchomp's still in the back, so it's actually in the perfect spot to. Oh gosh.
Muddy Water single target connects with Slitherwing. 11 HP.
Hit. Also gets the accuracy drop, so that's like a double whammy right there.
Sonic Catcher does connect.
Yeah, Sonic Catcher will connect, but you know things are gonna get knocked out. Like Sandstorm ends here. Garchomp is still in the back.
This is
access to a bunch of things.
At this point, you know, Garchomp. I mean, those Garchomp. I mean, yeah, it's got Dragon Claw.
That part doesn't even matter. You can just click Earthquake too, right?
Because, yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but
you have single target Earthquake against like like even if Iron Hand gets knocked here, Gastrodon gets knocked out here, like it's Gastrodon just picks up this. Like you're 11 HP with those Slitherings, right? You're going to
There's nothing that's gonna live this. It doesn't matter what happens.
And honestly, I like looking at the game 3, right? If you are Quinn, you have to kind of realize like, okay, Hayley has answers to Trick Room because of the fact that Hayley has the Gastrodon, she has the Amoonguss, so she has those aspects that she's able to just be like, okay, if Trick Room gets set up, that's totally fine. Gastrodon we saw was kind of thriving in this aspect.
There you go.
Was sort of able to just like, capitalize on the fact that the Dragalge went for the Water Terra with the Hydro Pump. It's very reminiscent of Z move, of Water Z moving into the Gastrodon.
Yeah.
But I think here, if you're Quinn, right, you can kind of switch up your game plan a little bit. Like, unfortunately, like your team is very heavy Trick Room, so you do have to really kind of plan for that. I think if you're going for like the Torkoal here, maybe that would help out too, because if you're able to at least set up Trick Room and maybe one of your Pokemon goes down because you are trying to set up Trick Room, you're able to bring in the Torkoal, get some heavy damage out there, right? Sure, the Gastrodon sort of resists that, and Tyranitar probably is the Pokemon that you're going to be looking to the Terra type, especially if Hayley decides to maybe once again go for the Garchomp Terra, right?
What's interesting here with Torkoal, it's got a really tough matchup because it does hit Iron Hands, does hit Sylveon, does hit Amoonguss. The other 3 all resist it, and that's where it's tough because they also can knock it out really easy. Tyranitar, a Gastrodon, and Garchomp all have super effective moves that can hit. That's I was surprised we haven't seen Breloom yet actually, because especially if we do see Gastrodon, it is a very solid pick. I think that's actually
I can appreciate this.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised not to see Mimikyu because it does hit so much, but at the same time,
Mimikyu is the Pokemon that's gonna get targeted on. Like
it is. That's what exactly. So, and especially now we also see that like Mimikyu isn't as offensive because of the Life Orb being on Dragalge. So I think that's probably a right call here. Yeah, I
also think Hayley has no problems going for the Tyranitar Garchomp.
No, that worked really well.
That is just, it's very nice and puts on a lot of pressure, right? You're able to pick up on knock on at least one Pokemon. So the onus is really on Quinn to be able to try to set up Trick Room for themselves and then be able to capitalize on it. And I think the Torkoal is a good adjustment to that, because Hayley will have to like kind of switch things around as needed to be able to deal with the Trick Room. But I think in the end, right, as soon as you set up Trick Room, then you're sort of on a timer as Quinn. Garchomp Tyranitar is still a really great lead, and I actually really agree with this for Hayley. I think it offers a lot in terms of offensive pressure, and the Garchomp should technically be hard to hit. I know we saw the Mimikyu hit it, but theoretically, like the Garchomp should be almost impossible to hit because of that Bright Powder and the Sand Veil. Double evasion in there, and then accuracy drop on your like opponent's Pokemon because of that Bright Powder.
Rock's not gonna come out
when
first.
There's a flinch, there is a way, ladies and gentlemen.
So true. Breloom
Oh
goes
my
for the
God.
spore right away, and it connects. So that Garchomp's gonna stay asleep for at least the next turn and one after. It could.
Quinn, I would like to
possibly
talk to your Pokemon's.
Assurance does pick up the knockout for a draft though, so that trick room is not
I would like to
happening.
talk to what is Optometrist, because they can see really well and connect everything. So Hayley actually fantastic turn 1 for her,
Yeah.
because she was able to deny that trick and was able to stop it. I'm sure Garchomp was put to sleep, but the most important part is this trick is still in your control. Garchomp in a little bit of trouble here because of that Draco Meteor.
Yeah, because of
you don't have to
Meteor.
worry about that. However, Hayley
I would not go for another high
really
jump
kind of
pump.
fantastic spot. Yeah, now you have to think twice about the high jump.
I know.
But Quinn actually is still not out of it. You know, you're able to go for another spore maybe somewhere. You can catch things like switch in.
Terra
Hayley
coming out.
going for most likely
Terrifying
to
the
that
distance.
fly. Yeah,
it's smart.
right, because it's just
You have a
good
fighting
for
type
that.
across the field that's faster than you. You kind of have to Terra if you want to live this hit.
It's just really good defensively, and next
It
to
is.
the Garchomp, it means you're open to go for Earthquakes where you wouldn't be able to before,
Absolutely.
right?
There's that Mach Punch, which would
Yeah,
have done
Mach Punch,
a lot of
you know,
damage.
not as much damage here thanks to that. Garchomp
Garchomp
still
does
staying
sleep.
asleep.
Now
It
it's
is
gonna
its necessary sleep turn.
It definitely needs to. Let's see here. Terra Blast first coming out. This is probably gonna get rid of that Breloom.
This poor bit. I mean, it will hold on because of that.
No, it got chipped
hit
in the
yeah.
first turn, and that's interesting because if this Draco Meteor connects, it means Quinn's Dragalge is stuck at -2 for the rest of the game. Oh, for Sludge Bomb. Okay, never mind. Really smart there, because now, like I said, otherwise your Dragalge would be at -2 for the rest of the game. That being said, Hayley still has the speed here, and if this Garchomp wakes up, I mean, Tyranitar also outspeeds Dragalge, but ooh, okay. Yeah, I think this is not the position you want it to be if you were Quinn, because both your Pokemon are very slow, or perhaps the two slowest
Right.
on
I mean,
their team.
the rough part is that your Fergraph was knocked out that first turn, right? You were able to get the assurance and the chip from the rock slide into that. So really, honestly, it was Hayley just kind of identifying, hey, this trick room is going to be a problem, so we're going to stop it right here.
Yeah.
Eruption, probably not the choice you're going to want to make here, because your Pokemon's going to be the slowest because you are outside of trick room. Garchomp, even asleep, right, you still at least have a lot of offensive pressure on Hayley's side. That Terra Blast with the flying still going to do a lot of damage regardless of like what's going to be. Garchomp wakes up. You're going to get the Earthquake here. You're going to do an insane amount of damage to both Pokemon.
I don't know if this is going to even, if they're going to live it. Yeah, 1 HP on Dragalge. The Rock Slide's going to miss on Torkoal. Okay. I don't know if it's still not going to help that much, because
you know, hey, it's a emotional victory for you that your Torkoal did that. Oh, never mind.
It's going to miss the Tyranitar, which is
the funny part, because it's the Garchomp that has the bright powder. But hey, you know what, Garchomp, you need to exchange your bright powder for a new pair, because I think it's dimmed down a little bit here.
Literally, Garchomp, I'm not even kidding with this, got less misses than the Tyranitar this game. But it did work out. Hayley emerges victorious in this battle.
So what's actually interesting to me is I think Quinn might have had a possibly better chance with the McHugh setup again that they had that previous turn, right? Because you're forcing Hayley to choose one Pokemon and stick with it. So even then, you could have done something super cheeky and go for like a double trick room on both of those Pokemon. Pax is trying to he's just resting here, so he's still here, I promise.
But one thing, it's interesting, Assurance, that was a really good play. It knocked out both of the trick room setters.
Surprising, because Hayley has had that Assurance on her turn for every single game that she's ever come to so far for SoCal. But I really appreciate the more offensive lead with the Tyranitar and the Garchomp. I think more importantly, it was able to put a lot more pressure and deny the trick room setup, right? So
absolutely, especially with the combo of Rock Slide, breaks Mimikyu's disguise, and then you can have Tyranitar do whatever.
I will say, Garchomp, you gotta switch out that bright powder. It ain't working for you, buddy. It's definitely lost its shine. You should get a new one. But in the meantime, we are gonna go